Hello, my name is Victor Lopez, and today we're going to do some live coding on Python.cards. Python.cards is this project I'm building for learning Python using flashcards and spaced repetition. That is, you review some flashcards every day, and the ones that you know better, you see them at longer intervals of time, and the ones that are harder for you to remember, you see them more often. The last few days I've been uploading videos in which I work on the first deck, which is the pathlib deck, for learning the pathlib standard library module. But today we're going to do something different. Today we're going to code some new features that I wanted to add to the platform, and also you will have a chance to see how the platform is implemented, how the actual reviewing of cards works, and so on. So let's get to it. What I wanted to start implementing, let's start some shell. I don't have anything super prepared. Wait, not manage. So create sessions. Create sessions is this script that we would run. We will run every day. That will create the new sessions for like the daily study sessions and send an email to each of our users. These messages will have an email, will have a link like this. Localhost 8000. This is the page that you will see when you start doing your daily study. Okay, you would click Start Daily Study, and then you would see this card. In this example, we say, what is the slash operator called, for example, in this? This is a pathlib question in which with the slash operator, you can join paths. Well, I already said it twice. This is the slash operator, right? It's called the slash operator. It allows you to join paths. How well did I remember it? I would say even it was easy for me, right? So now, what does BDFL mean? I could think about it a little bit, but this means Benevolent Dictator for Life, right? This is a title that Guido van Rossum, the creator of Python, had for many years. So that's correct, but that we're not reviewing cards now. These are just some test cards that I created. But here we see that there's these feedback buttons, but here we have these other buttons, which are the things that I wanted to implement now. So one thing about these cards that will be very helpful for our platform, for Python.cards, is that we want to get feedback. We want to get feedback. We want to get feedback from the users. So some cards might be better than others, like maybe they are easy to understand, they are difficult to understand, or maybe there's some mistake or something like that. And I want to implement this feedback mechanism. So people can click here. These are just some placeholder images that I put here. We want users to be able to click here and give a thumbs up or thumbs down to that card. So I don't like this card, or I like this card. And then this button here should open this form so you can send some feedback. Maybe you found something that is missing. Maybe you found a bug, you found a typo, or you have some idea regarding this card. So that will be very helpful for us to know. Another thing is that I want to see a list of cards. I don't know if this is a card, a view that we created or not. So, okay, cards. What happens with cards? If user is not super user. Am I not a super user? Probably not. So I need to log in. So I have this cards view where what's happening now? I think now I need the slash. Okay, so this one gives you a list of all the cards, which we need to improve. We need to improve this view because I've had different thoughts about how to show cards. So these cards have this title. I think the title should be like human readable. So, and this should probably be kind of like a table. So let's go to cards. So what am I doing now? Now I want to have some weird thing going here with the indentation. So the indentation of Django templates is not, it's not the best thing ever. Block footer. Okay. So here, why do I want to create a table? I want to create a table because I want to display also the number of upvotes and like likes and dislikes in this table, right? So let's have a table. This is not sure this is what I want, but I don't want the dex. I want the card. Let's say title, tags, for example. Let's put this inside of a container. So we have this thing here. So I want to have the title of the card, maybe the ID of the card too. And then instead of this deck, we will do for cards. We want to have a row with these things here. So we could have the card.id. Okay. Then we can have the card.title. Card.title. And then the tags, likes, or let's say feedback, right? Okay. And we will want to have some button to display the card, actually. And I want to rename the titles of the cards. So if you check my last video, which I was creating the deck of cards for the Pathlib deck, I realized that it was helpful. So in the beginning, I was creating these IDs like Pathlib, Class Hierarchy 1. These were the IDs that I was setting for the cards, Pathlib parents, and so on. But then I realized that it's helpful to have these kind of complete names that state the fact that you want to remember using that card. For example, path.itterdir returns a generator yielding all the dictionary directory contents. So that is one statement, and then we can create a path that has this that asks about this fact, right? The issue or the thing is, I don't want to make this and have an ID like itterdir or pathlib itterdir generator. That is not understandable. So I want to make this as succinct as possible and use that as the title. So in this case, this would be, if we go to the BDFL card, this would be BDFL means benevolent dictator for life. That's what this card is about, right? So here, now that is a good title for this card. For example, this one would be the slash operator on pathlib paths is called slash operator, something like that. And then what is this step? Range accepts an optional parameter step, for example. And then pathly parent only lexical. What does this mean? What is parent in this directory? So we could say here, pure path dot parent is a purely lexical operation. What this means is that this is an operation that doesn't take into account if the directory exists or it doesn't or anything. So this is what this card means. Okay, these are just 4 cards that I wanted to have for developing this site. So first, the deck. We could also have the deck. So here we would have card.deck.name, I guess. Okay. Then we can have some tags. Or maybe not. Okay. So let's remove the tags and let's have the feedback, which is what we want to work on specifically. We can tidy up 3 likes to dislikes, for example. We could have that. And we could, I think we can remove the borders. And let's format this a little bit. Okay, so this is just an admin site, right? But in this admin site, we're going to see these likes and dislikes and so on. And we want to keep track of that here. So add this thing here, whatever. We keep it as for future reference. Okay. Let's make a couple tweaks to this thing here. I don't know how to make this like full width. Does that work? Yeah, that works. Okay, and then I don't know why this is. It looks like this is centered, but we want to make it. I want to take it to the left, I think. So let's make this text left. Is that? Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of love and a lot of hate for Tailwind. What I'm using here is Tailwind. Okay, so ID deck. Of course, deck should go first. Okay. So now this is a Django app, right? So what does this mean? What does this mean? It means that it has this model view controller pattern, right? It follows this software design pattern, the model view controller. So if we want to have these likes and dislikes, I think the first thing we need to do is to have a model. So when building a web app, you may think, the most important thing or the first thing you should do is building the UI, and that's true I think that's good to have the UI like we did here, not we did here, what I did here, where we have this UI, but I think we want to build the backend first, and we're going to use tests for that. So we're not going to test our functionality via the UI or the website, but we're going to write some unit tests, and once we are sure that all the behavior works, then we're going to do the front end. So First thing we need to do is have the models. So let's go to cards, models. Here we have deck, and here we have a card. So what classes do we want to have for this thing? So we could have like a like, or a comment, or we could have a feedback class, right? Let's call this feedback, maybe. So we have a card, you see Copilot here. We have a user, definitely. We want to know when it was created. When it was modified, why not? And then we could have text. So comment. And then we could say how do we want to count this thing? So we could have the likes, the dislikes, and the comments, right? We could have this for each card. So we could say def feedback self. We could have so feedback equals this, and we could return kind of a dictionary that said likes. No, the comment is not like. So we could make we could make this just it's like or dislike. The problem with having these two fields is that it is possible to have like two like and dislike at the same time, right? And that should be handled by the controller or the view in the case of Django. The other possibility is to have a choice field, right? So we could have a choice field. So we could have these constants where like is 1, dislike is 2, and you just change that value, right? I don't know. Like equals true. Let's make it like this for now. It's dislikes, dislike equals true, and then comments. The comment can be blank. Comment is null. Django filter. No, it's a what is it? Not equal this. Does that work? Values. User comment. Okay. Values list. Okay, we're going to test this later, but let's have this as a different def dislikes. In reality, this we're going to use only in the admin side, right? So we don't care that much if this is like super efficient or anything. If this gets low, we'll improve it. So likes, dislikes, comments. And now here we can, this is a comment, this is a like, or this is a dislike. So we need to make the migration. So in case you're not seeing that, that's what I'm doing here. Make migrations and and migrate. Okay, let's move that down there. So now that this is migrated, what we can do is we can modify the view. So here we should already, instead of having these 3 likes, we could have actually card dot likes. And if we 0 likes and card dot dislikes. Now here we want to make this look good. We would say if card dot likes so if there are likes, this, and then we would pluralize this thing. So, and the same thing for the dislikes. Exactly. The same thing for this. So if there's one dislike, this pluralizes. If there's one dislike, we will have that. And then, why not? Let's do the comments. So the comments, if there are any comments, okay, not equal. That, I don't know. Django look filter non-empty string. Is not true. Okay, so actually it is the is null. We'll test it. We'll see if that's right. Okay. Okay, is null for comment. Non-blank string. Not file field. I want a char field. If you need to use null values at the string is to do so to chain it together. So exclude. Oh, it's exclude. So it would be filter exclude comment equals this. Why doesn't this work? Okay, that seems to work. Okay. We'll see. Seems to not crash, better said. Okay, so we have these comments, and here, if there are any comments, we could say whatever, comments.count comments, and then we will add some feedback later and we will see, and we can try to display these comments and so on. Okay, so now we have created the models. We have the feedback model, comment, like, dislike. Now we want to create the views to like or dislike a card, right? So we could start with the URL. So here we have these cards, card ID. So we could have feedback, right? And here we could say So we want to have this, or if we want Copilot to do this for us, we can have this thing here. Okay, so this is cards int pk, and here we could say like, and we could say card like view as view. Of course, this view doesn't exist, but we're going to add it. So we're going to like, we're going to dislike, and we're going to comment. Dislike, comment. Let's comment this once here, and let's go to do the card like view. So here we have all the logic of all the submissions and so feedback, like, dislike, and comment. And here we can have the card like view. Here we could say, okay, let's see what this thing does. We don't want to make it we want to make it with get. So here, this could be, I think this should be a detail view, because we are working on a single card. So if this is a detail view, then the model is obviously card. Content object name, we can make it card. Template, we could have card feedback, and we'll see what we're going to do, because what we're going to do is we're going to get return a template fragment, let's say, for all of this stuff here, updating this to put it in color green. So this is the card feedback template that we don't have yet. And then we need to implement the get, not the get, like the get, the actual get, get context data. What does get context data do? Get object? No, because get object we already have. Let me see. Django detail view. So the detail view has this get object, get context object name, get context data, get. I think we want to implement get. Oh, but it does this thing here. And what does get object do? Oh, this is the single object mixing. Okay. So I have this question. Let's ask GPT-4, right? In a Django generic class-based, in a Django detail view, if I want to modify the object, which method is best to use? Let's see what GPT-4 thinks. If you want to modify the object detail view, the best method to use is get object. The method returns the object that you can override, blah blah blah. Okay. I believe you, sir. I believe you. So let's modify the object. So here we're going to make so this is a card. So let's make card dot. So now, sorry, we want to, what the like is going to do is going to create a so here we're going to get or create a feedback object. Okay, so we're going to do this. Card feedback. Okay, I like the card feedback better than feedback. So this guy helped us. Yes. Okay. So here we are saying, we're in the view. So card feedback, which we need to import. Card feedback. So card feedback get or create, and we're going to use. Oh. Now we have an issue here. The issue is that the URL, I mean, let's see. The issue is that we don't have users authenticated in Python.cards. We don't have users logged in, so we don't have the request user. What we are doing is we are relying on the session ID. So if we go to the review view, here we're getting the object, right? We're getting this session. And that's what we're using to identify who the user is. Okay, so what we need to have, so the like view is going to be much more similar to the session view. So it will be a session, and it will be, for example, we could say like this card, for example. So this could be the card like view, and we could make this like, and we could remove this thing here, and we could close this, and we could format the document. Okay, so it would be slag like card ID, right? Instead of slag, it could be session slag. I would like session slag more. So now we are going back to where we were, but we're going to have this. So we're going to have this thing here. So get session, get card. So we are doing this thing here. So here, this is a feedback view. We're going to try to use, well, let's have the card like view first. We're going to reuse all of this code. We're not going to make it like super, we're not going to duplicate this thing. So slag, I would say this is the session slag, which is the name that we used. So we have the session slag, we get the session, we get the card, and check that it is in the session, and then we do this thing of a card dot. Yeah, we could have this like and this like, right? Not really, not necessary. So we could have this feedback get or create. So we say user is session.user, card is card, and then we say feedback dot like equals true, feedback dot dislike equals false, save, and now we return an actual template. Return what template do we return? Do we want to return a template actually? How are we going to display this like, the like for this card in the template? So in study, this is where we have these buttons, this is VG buttons and so on, where it says like and dislike. Here we have the card, right? And we want to load a like or dislike for this specific user, right? Do we have the user here? No, not really. Oh, we have the session.user. So the session.user feedback.like true, dislike false, save. Okay, yeah, we need to display the feedback, right? So we're going to return, let's call it card feedback.html. So render card feedback.html. Template. Return a render of this thing. Come on, Copilot, you can do this. Okay, not card, we want the feedback. And we want to import this thing. Okay, import render. So now we have been coding quite a bit. I said previously that we were going to have tests, and I didn't write a single test yet, right? So let's do it. Let's add some tests. So in cards tests, we have how many lines? We have more than 500 lines of unit tests. So we have some tests, right? We have the join test, create session command, session, and then here we have the create daily study. We have all of this logic for, let's create a test here, but I want to copy some stuff from up here. So the session tests, setup, let's have here feedback tests. So setup, we create a user, is active true. So I guess we don't need to set that. Then we create a session for this user for today, and we create a client. I guess we need to create some cards. So deck, I have a helper function up top, but I'm not sure if I want to use that or not. Yeah, create cards 15. Okay. Okay. So we create 10 cards, create this user, session, and the client. So test like. So we could assert equals okay, what does create cards do? Does it return the cards? No. I don't like this thing. I think I prefer to create the actual deck and the actual cards. So self.deck and I don't know. Anyway, so if you we can check that all cards. So first, let's create one card. And let's say self.card equals card.objects.first. So now we just have this one card. Card doesn't have any like. So we could say card.likes equals 0. So this way, okay, what is failing here? Assertion error, likes. Okay, that's good. What is the issue? Oh, likes is a function. But we know that the tests are running, right? Now it fails. It has no attribute feedback set. Oh, because we need to migrate this thing. We made the migration, but we didn't migrate. Oh, no. That's not the issue. The issue is that we changed the name. So this is not the feedback set. This is the feedback, the card feedback set. And that passed. Okay, so we are already entering the land of test-driven development. So now we have this test that says that, okay, the card doesn't have any like. And we're also testing at the same time, which we weren't doing before, all of this stuff here. So these like and comments need to be empty. So we can say any like, dislike, or comment. Maybe we want to test card feedback methods. I don't know. Let's leave this for later. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to get the feedback for this card. And we're doing this in this view, which is the card like view. Which is fine. We could do it in review view. Let's check this review view has this review / answer. Let's have it's a parameter int card ID. I'm thinking of refactoring this thing here. Because the review view is actually doesn't matter. So it's like a detail view for the card and the session, or the session and the card. Doesn't matter. We could reuse some of this logic and so on. We'll do, because I don't want to create tests for checking that this logic is correct. You know, that if the card is not in the session, this doesn't work and so on. I would prefer to skip that. And even we could completely skip the check that the card is in the session. If you want to just mess around with it, why not, right? But anyway, so the tests. Now we want to call this like the card, right? So now we do self.client sessions like the card. We go to URLs. Is that what we called it? Yeah, like the card. This is not REST or anything. Just and now let's print. What? Okay, template does not exist. That's what we would expect. So let's go to study, and here we have this stuff, this div. Let's go down. Let's create a new template and let's call this a card feedback.html. So here, this is not PHP. Who thinks this is PHP? This is Django HTML. Okay. So this is font awesome. Whatever. So we are returning this. And the thing is, if the card feedback, so we can make this green, right? So we, if card, or is it card feedback, or if feedback dot like, then let's make this green. We will change the color later. Else, let's make it light gray. Okay, so now we want to see that actually green should be, we want to know more, but we can assert that this is 200 and self.assert contains response green, right? And it passes. We can also run the tests. Here in the test runner testing, I guess you can also, we should have a button here. We could run it in the feedback tests. Yeah, but this script that I created is also convenient. Okay, so I don't know how you run on save. We could configure this thing. No, where is this? But anyway, problem terminal is good. So now if you press like again, we want to have a view, which is, we could have unlike, which is like remove the like, which is a different than dislike, right? So we have this view, and now we're starting to have this, like this action, right? So let's have a Django URL string as parameter. I don't know how you can say this, how you can do this. Django regex URL. Right? The problem is that this has changed sometimes, so I don't. Okay, so here we have some stuff. Let's try to use our friend GPT. Create a Django URL that has a named parameter called action that has 4 different values: like, unlike, dislike, and dislike. This prompt is terrible. This prompt is terrible. But yeah, okay. Okay, good. It did the slow thing. But feedback. Card. Feedback. View. Okay, so what it did also makes sense. It just have the action as the, well, let's call this like action. And in the views, we can have this like action. And then here we can say if like action not in like this, unknown action. And here we could say this like, unlike, dislike, and this like. Right, so now we have this action stuff, and we can test that this works. So we could say test unknown action returns 404, right? So here we could say blah. That's exactly what I would say. Has no attribute get. What? View. This is probably not. Oh, this is a race, not a return. That works. Okay, so now we have a weird action does this. So like, if we do like, this contains green, which okay. If we unlike it, unlike the card, this should contain light gray. Which, I mean, always does, but it should assert not contains green, to put it another way. And this will fail. Why? Because we didn't implement the unlike, right? So here we would say if like action like, then this is like and dislike. If, or elif, like action is unlike, this is false. And this one is also false. If this is dislike, this, and unlike, or okay. Clear. That's the right word. Clear. Dislike. Like, dislike, or clear. So, like, dislike, and clear. Probably someone was screaming because I was just saying and dislike. So, dislike is true, and clear is false. And then we save. Now the tests, what are the tests saying? That it has green, right? Oh, because like this is not doing anything. But if we clear, then the tests are passing. So we're on the right path. Okay, so we're getting there bit by bit, but we still need more things. So now let's start to the front end, right? We have this split it in some different ways. Let's see what happens if we include card feedback.html. What happens there? Okay, we have this twice. Then we have the comment stuff with the div, this thing here. Sorry. Let's put this below this button. Remove all of this. So now we have the card feedback. We have the same thing as before. Now the issue is that, okay, what about this card feedback? If it's a like, it needs to be green, right? So do we have the card feedback here? Probably not. Do we have the card here? Sorry. Card. No. So we need to send the card feedback thing to the front end. So how can we do this? We need to check this view here, the study view that we have here. So we have different ways of doing this. We could do this completely in JavaScript. Like if you click here, we make it green no matter what the backend says, or we get the template from the backend. I think it's better to just make it immediate and not care. So I'm backtracking a little bit here and going back to put this thing here and forgetting about this, what this thing returns. So what this means is that in the view, we cannot check the tests, we cannot check that this thing contains anything. What we need to check is that there is a feedback, right? So, for example, this should be 1, and this should be 0. Right? Sorry, here are the tests. So the likes is 1, and the dislikes is 0, right? Then 0, 0. Let's make it dislike the card. If we dislike it, this should fail, of course, because the dislikes are 1. Sure. And then if we clear, so let's call this clear the feedback, we clear, and it is 0, 0, 0. Now, the view shouldn't return anything. JSON response, true. And so now we can like it, we can dislike it, we can clear. Doesn't have any likes or dislikes. This is a very... So, and then we can self.assert exists. So card feedback, which we need to include. Well, let me see if I can include it from models, input card feedback. So we have this thing here. Assert exists doesn't exist. I mean, if it fails, let's get it. If it's cleared, if the comment is empty, we could just remove it, right? But let's keep it around. Doesn't matter. Doesn't hurt. Okay. Test like dislike, clear. Okay, this is good. This is good. So now I think we have the backend regarding the likes and dislikes, and skipping the comments, we have this working. So now what we want to make is to make this work in the front end. So we have done the test-driven development part of the deal. Now we need to do the front end, which, I don't know, should be easy. So I'm using Alpine.js for this thing. It's very simple. It's very simple to use. And it's not like the best thing ever. It's not super. I mean, it has its drawbacks, definitely. But it's cool. Let's make this green and see what happens. Okay. It's not green, the color that I want, but we'll see. So the point is that this card here, we need to see what is the card feedback, and we need to set this into the state. So we have the cards, and the cards are these due times, session.due times. So if we go to the models, due times, card ID, options, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and where do we get the cards from? Cards, due times, total, length. Where are the cards? It says the due times, but where do we actually draw that? Oh, it's from the session cards. So from the session cards, we know the feedback that we have for each card. So we could have it from the session. In the session, we could also pull the feedback, right? We have the due times for each card. So we could have, like dev feedback feedbacks, right? Something like that. So here we could return kind of a dictionary, which would be exactly card ID for card in cards, and then this card.likes. No, but this is not the card.likes. This would be it's either like, dislike, or comment, right? So we could have feedbacks is a list. So for card in self.cards, not sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but we could do how do we want to do this thing? The thing is that here we want to display what the actual feedback that the user gave before is. I mean, these things are easy to do, but we want to make it clean and correct, right? So we have the feedback for each card, and then when you click, so let's see what happens when you press again, right? This again button. When you do review good, review hard, and so on. Problem is this code I wrote it some time ago, so I don't remember it by heart. So this would be async feedback action. Okay, so it's very similar to whatever we have. So we do, okay, we take the first card number, and we fetch this thing. We don't care even about the output. And we fetch a action card, and that's it. So take current first card number, and here these comments are Django comments, so they are not sent to return the code. And here we say provide feedback, like, dislike, clear. So we'll see how we decide if it's a like or it's a clear, right? So this click here should send this feedback. So this click here, we should say this button is a feedback like, more or less, could be clear. Dislike. Oh, it's easy to do this. So here we'd say, the question is, how do we get the feedback? How do we know if we are liking this or not? So let's have a function. So we have so we can have an object that says we're leaving the comments out of this. So let's see here the likes. So we could say likes of self is return card ID for carding cards, and we have the ID, and then we have a man likes equals a dictionary. So we do for card in this, and let's do card feedback equals this thing here, filter if there is this thing, if like true, elif cf dot dislike, not true or false. Let's make it like or dislike. So I mean, I don't know. Don't like it very much, but you gotta do something, right? If we now do self.session.likes, we could self.assert equal, this guy will have self.card ID like. Is that true? No, because this one doesn't have a like. Of course, this is not a... We could try to get this thing. User equals session.user. I don't know what I was doing. Except... So... self.user. So we have the card ID, we have the user. If it's a like, this. If it's a dislike, dislike. Otherwise, it's nothing. And what about the test? Card ID. This is card. And then we can say, does this work? And here we can say card.pk. And now this works. Okay, so the test now is correct. We have this thing here, assert equal, assert equal, assert equal, which kind of does this check also. So this is like, dislike, and this is empty, I guess. Okay, the tests are passing. So now we have this function likes that gives this dictionary with likes in the session. And then we're going to write this in here. So this is going to be likes is session.likes save. Now if we check the code, likes, we see, well, this is an empty object for now, but everything will come. So the question here is, when you click here, then you do. The feedback is the following. What is the first card ID? You could have an is like. This is not true. We could return this dot likes equals like. That is the truth. So is like is dislike. That is how we know if we have a like or we don't have a like. So now the question is, when you click here, if it is like, then you clear. Otherwise, you like. Is this like? If it's a dislike, then you clear. Otherwise, you dislike. And now here, the fill, how do we know how to fill this thing? So Alpine.js custom attributes, how do you do that? Xbind. So you would do a column fill, and we would say is like, then green. Otherwise, light gray. And a similar thing we would do for the dislike, but this is a red and this is a dislike. Okay. Now we click dislike and this doesn't work. Okay. Oh, Now this is green. Is this like is not defined? Okay. Is this like? Is this like? Okay. Let's try this thing again. Okay. Oh, dislike. Did it trigger something? I don't know. Oh, yeah, it's a dislike. Okay. It's a like. Did it trigger something? Yeah, it's a like. Now let's clear this thing. Did it trigger something? It's clear. So that works. The only problem is that we need to refresh the page to get the result. So what we need to do is we need to update the object we have here. So the likes here, when we do this thing here, we update local likes tracking. So here we do, sorry, it was probably doing it right or not. If action is like, this action is like. If action is dislike, dislike. If action is clear, we remove it. So here, this is what we want. Beautiful, beautiful. And if we go to the admin, let's see here, one dislike. And now, one like. Dislike, one like, nothing. Okay. Let's leave this thing for another day. We need to change the colors of this thing. Let's go to tailwind colors. We might want to get some colors like this green. I don't know, this green color here. Instead of green, we could have this thing here. Probably might look better. Too light. Too light. Maybe this thing here. Is it a bit better? Still pretty light, but okay. And the red, we take also the 300. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. And then the blue, where is the blue? Here, we can have this for the comment. Here we could have, this is easier to do, right? So here we say show comment false. And here, if you click this guy here, show comment equals not show comment, we toggle this thing, and here we could say x cloak x show equals show comment. So this thing here, what it will do is that it will toggle this thing. Okay, we need some footer, because otherwise this is very doesn't have any footer. Let's margin bottom 24. Tailwind. This thing updates the tailwind stats that we're using. So now we have this margin bottom, and here we could, this class, we might want to change this thing. We'll see some other time. So, but anyway, the feedback is working. For the next day, we will add the comments here, and we will do a couple more things. But it's obvious that here in cards, let's go to admin. For cards, we also need to add to register the card feedback, right? admin.register card feedback, list display. So here we will have the card feedbacks, and here we have this guy who said that doesn't like this thing. And so on. We will no like, dislike. We will probably modify this. Let's have a to-do here. To-do show like/dislike instead of true false. Okay, we will modify this. Here in the feedback, we need to add some stuff. Let's add some to-dos. When we finish the work, cards HTML, it's good to have leave some to-dos now that we are clear of what we are required. So here I would say in the card.title, we want to say to-do show hide full card. That's one thing we want to do. In the like dislikes, show icon not text. So we want to have like a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Show green thumbs up icon, show red thumbs down icon. And for the comment, we want to show comments next to the card. So this is a to-do for these cards here. Then, but again, and then the to-do, of course, is the comment, right? Let's go to the URLs. Here we want to have to-do comment. And then in the views, again, to-do create comment view. Okay. We to-do test comment. We did some stuff today. It's the first time I show you how the Python.cards study view works. We got it has been some weeks, maybe more than 1 month, that I haven't been touching this code, so I was a bit lost in the beginning, or I wasn't as fast. But we got this working. So this is dynamic. It's very fast. It has very quick response time. You can clear and you can give this thumbs up and thumbs down. I think this will be very useful, having these stats when we have this list of cards that we can review and so on, for knowing what users like, what users don't like, what we need to improve, and so on. Finally, just a reminder that I have hundreds of cards, almost 200 cards, I think, ready for the pathlib deck. So probably the next day, apart from implementing this comment feature, the next thing I will do is import all of that cards into the platform so we can see and iterate a little bit in this view so we can see all of the cards, what they are, and we can sort them and do some other things. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful for you, and stay tuned to see the new things that are coming with Python.cards. Following weeks, we are probably going to complete the first deck, which is pathlib. We're going to complete the last couple features I want to make before the release. So I want to add the ability to subscribe to one deck of cards and not another, and so on. And then we're going to be live. So subscribe to this channel, join the waitlist of Python.cards, and see you some other time.